In 1965, I was chosen as a student missionary from Atlantic Union College to go to Brazil. We worked on the Amazon River on the Lucero 6 for a while, and that was an amazing experience, treating native populations in the villages. But one of the most remarkable trips in Brazil was a time that we took a Red Cross ambulance from Belém, Brazil, through the jungles to Fortaleza. The Red Cross had shipped the ambulance in. It couldn't get into the port because of customs issues in Fortaleza, so we had to drive it from Belém. Now, in those days, 1965, Castelo Branco was the president of Brazil. They were just building Brasilia, and so we had to take a dirt road down through the jungles. We probably went 60 miles on a paved road and then a dirt road through the jungles. And it was a long, long journey, a few hundred miles journey. And I remember on one occasion, we were 60, 70 miles from the nearest village. We were going down a rough road, a lot of rocks in it. We had come to a number of rivers where we had to build bridges to come across. It was really a primitive area. As we were going down this one hill, kind of like into a ravine, the ambulance that we were in began to bounce around. Now, there were three of us in the ambulance, myself, Dr. Rocco, Dr. Murillo. And as we were going in this ambulance, and it was kind of bouncing around, the driver went to shift, and he missed the proper gear to shifted in reverse. We heard all the crankcases shattering, and of course, we came to a grinding halt very quickly. We wondered, what are we going to do? We're 60, 70 miles from the nearest village. We're way out in the jungles. What are we going to do? We remembered that a jungle truck would pass us about once a day carrying rice to the villagers. So we decided to wait for that jungle truck and ask if one of us could go back to the neighboring town or village 60 miles away and radio our mission headquarters to get us help. And so Dr. Murillo agreed that he would go. We waited for the jungle truck. It came along. He begged a ride on the truck. The driver took him. That left the two of us, Dr. Rocco and I, in the jungles. As we were there, Dr. Rocco began to sing a song. I know the Lord will find a way for me. If we do what's right and live a holy life, the Lord will find a way for me. And so we sang that song. One day went by, no response at all from our friend who left for 60, 70 miles away. No response. Second day, no response. And, I'm a young college student. I celebrated my 21st birthday in the jungle. And every day I'm getting hungrier and hungrier and hungrier. Well, we met a group of Indians from the Krakati tribe that came along, and we began bartering with them. They saw a machete that I had, and this young Indian wanted the machete. And so we said, look, if you'll get us some food, they knew a little Portuguese, and Dr. Rocco spoke Portuguese, and we kind of mixed Portuguese and native language. And so the Indian said, look, if you give me that machete, I'll get you some food. But he indicated that I had to go with him. So at 21, I began to walk through the jungles with this Indian, and we walked for what I thought to be 2, 3, 4 miles, came into a clearing where there were 21 huts. I was the only one there, of course, from the Western society. All the Indians looked at me, and they wondered, who is this strange guy in our village? They weren't too happy to see me there, but this young Indian wanted that machete so badly. Finally, we came to one hut, and he pointed to this skinny, scrawny chicken, more bones and feathers than flesh. And I thought, oh my, here comes my lunch. And he pointed to that thing, and he began chasing it. Well, I came from the city. I wasn't used to chasing chickens. And he was on one side of the bush, and I was on the other. And he chased it, and it ran right past me into one of these huts. And he went after it and whapped that chicken, handed it to me upside down. I had to carry it by the legs, carried it back those 2 or 3 miles, and he came with me. And we asked him if he would slay the chicken, but it was against some superstition that they had. So we cut the head off that chicken, and blood went everywhere, and I began to pluck the feathers off and stuck a stick through it and roasted it over the open hearth. And you know something? That skinny old dirty chicken was the last piece of meat I ever ate. I became a vegetarian quite quickly in the jungles. But let me tell you a prayer story. We were there, another day went by, nothing to eat, another day. After about 5 days, I remember one day I was in the back of the ambulance that we were taking. I was praying. I said, "Dear Lord, you know how hungry I am. You know I haven't eaten." You know, some people say if you don't eat for a day or 2 days, you then lose your hunger pangs. Don't believe them. You don't. In fact, the more the time went on, the hungrier I got. I was in the back of that ambulance praying, and as I was praying, I heard, it was at night, I heard beep, 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 and I couldn't believe it. We're in the middle of the jungle. Open the back of the ambulance, the lights of a truck shone in my eyes, and I get out and called Dr. Rocco. We went out, and there was this truck driver. He handed a box full of food through the window of the truck, and he said, "Your friend who's in that village has radioed, and they're going to send a helicopter for you to get you out of here, to repair the ambulance, really, because you can't leave the ambulance. It's Red Cross. But they're going to send a helicopter. But he knew you'd be hungry. Here's the food." And you know, in those jungles of Brazil and working on the Amazon River, I learned this important point. There is a God who answers prayer. I saw very real situations that we were in, very tragic situations, and God answers prayer. He did it for us, and he'll do it for you.